say
more into this. Take a look.
Can't handle the Johnny Depp Amber Heard. It's a 7-layer dip of insanity.
you again.
I was completely unaware of how entertaining the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial is.
Which means he hasn't been watching it, and therefore he's talking shit out of his ass.
It's truly amazing.
Did you get in a fight or something?
Oh, thank you. Got into an altercation.
This was the defamation trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Well, no one actually saw the first week of the trial, because no one knew that it was happening. I guess it was just formalities, no exciting stuff yet. It wasn't long into the trial that viewers noticed that Miss Heard was writing almost all the time.
None of these photographs are the originals, not one. And many were stored in an editing program. So they could have been manipulated and cannot be confirmed as authentic. Importantly, you will not see a single photograph of the vast majority of the abuse alleged by Ms. Heard. The only medical report of an injury during their relationship was a severe one, and it was sustained by Mr. Depp. After an argument, shortly after their marriage,
treating psychologist or a therapist or a psychiatrist simply does a diagnostic interview, which involves assessing multiple areas of a person's history back down through childhood.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Yes.
What's a treating environment?
Sometimes I'll slip into these words, I apologize. So a treating environment, in therapy, if somebody is going in for treatment, the mental health provider will rule out these disorders, prove that there is no reason for these disorders to be considered. They might also pay attention to their observations of the client over time and new information the client provides them.
those who watched this relationship develop saw red flags all over the place. And over time, the real Miss Heard began to emerge.
And one more time. She just keeps glancing down and back up. And when you're writing, you can't be paying attention to what's being said. So, what is she writing then, if she is not paying attention to much? I made a whole video on that, if you want to know some details on that.
The results of Ms. Heard's evaluation supported 2 diagnoses.
And before we get to the irony of these diagnoses, isn't it strange that she's writing through the entire question the lawyer's asking, and then continuing through the answer? And it doesn't even look like she's writing at this point. It looks like she is doodling, drawing pictures. And there are certain people who want to deny that they have any kind of a problem, so she could just be ignoring this. And those people often have the following psychological conditions.
2 diagnoses, borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder.
What did Ms. Heard capture of this supposed rampage? Mr. Depp moaning in distress? That's what she chose to record. What sort of person records something like that?
And I think it was week 2 where something interesting finally happened when Johnny Depp took the stand.
He takes huge dramatic pauses.
Yeah.
Especially when he's about to mention dog poop.
I thought that some human being had actually dropped a grumpy. That there was no way back.
Yeah, there's no coming back once the shit hits the fan.
And he showed me a photograph on his telephone.
What was the photograph of Mr. Depp?
And from that moment on,
I arrived early, 10:45. We had a conversation pertaining to the surprise she left in the boss's bed.
What was that? What was that?
human fecal matter.
What was that? What was that?
Human fecal matter.
Why was that? Why was that?
That's a lonely life. Lonely life. Human fecal matter.
And Mr. Jenkins, when you said Miss Heard got sick, do you recall what her symptoms were? Miss Heard, what did you do?
I ate some black beans, a greasy souffle. I washed it down with a double latte.
She just tried to blame it on the dogs.
In the last 15 years or more, TV has just had a blackout of anything that makes women look bad. It's all about elevating women now. But it ends up only hurting women. When you ignore something, the problem gets worse.
The radio host said he thinks Johnny is all for having it televised. Quote, "That's what narcissists do," adding that they think they can talk their way out of anything. Yeah.
I have 4 points to make about that comment. First point, Howard Stern is an asshole. Who he's describing there is Amber.
Adding that the Oscar winner, who testified over multiple days, is totally overacting on the stand.
Mr. Depp, you sent this text to Christian Carino on August 15th?
I most certainly did.
Okay.
I receive hundreds of death threats regularly.
Who doesn't?
Since this trial has started.
Christian Carino is the person who used to be Amber's agent and then was your agent for a time, correct?
That is correct.
People mocking.
Yeah, what? Look at this.
Mocking my testimony about being assaulted.
Totally overacting on the stand.
Mr. Depp, you said she's begging for total global humiliation.
In front of cameras, the humiliation, meltdown. Live with the trauma and the damage done to me. Externalization of blame. My intimate partners have rules about how they can deal with me, how they can touch me.
How many intimate partners does she have?
I have rules for doctors and medical professionals I see, gynecologists I see.
How many gynecologists does she need?
To live with a set of unspoken rules about how to not scare me.
Objection, hearsay.
Yes, sir. Unspoken rules. Overruled.
Take 2.
About how to not touch me, not to surprise me.
And that ends another one of Amber's humiliating days of her life.
A woman you suggest has characteristics of being afraid for her life, gives her intimate partner a large knife, which she has inscribed until death. That's your testimony?
Well, there's context.
I'll bet there is.
Is this the picture that you sent to your mom on 3/23/2013?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of 170 just that.
Jerks like Howard Stern are saying that Johnny Depp is clearly acting because he pauses a lot, I guess stammers, or, well, exactly what she's doing here. She's the one who seems to be acting, and a lot of other people are saying the same thing. And that ends another one of Amber's humiliating days of her life. Here, the court gave us a break from Amber's dramatic life to put on the stand the funniest witness anybody's ever seen. But he didn't actually take the stand. This is the first time I've seen someone give testimony virtually. And where did he choose to be during his virtual testimony?
There's scratches like 4 inches above the floor to your unit. On my head, I was like, you think someone's trying to get into your unit? There's scratches like 4 inches above the floor and your door. That was the dog trying to get into the unit. They were so afraid. Oh, someone's trying to get into my unit. They're like, oh, come on, really? I don't remember. I don't even remember what I got for breakfast.
Was Amber Heard treat you well, and was she friendly to you in each of these hundreds of times?
Yes. I'm not going to say no because she was really always nice.
All right, this is my last.
Be nice.
All right, this is my last question. You testified in response to Mr. Presidio's questions that you testified.
And there was another person on the stand that gave us a moment of comedy. Notice every lawyer is smiling here because the person on the stand just made a comment about the lawyers. This is classic here. Let's go back and hear this one.
You know this case is being televised, right?
I am aware that there are cameras.
And so this gets you your 15 minutes of fame.
Though you're welcome to speculate. I could say the same thing by taking Amber Heard as a client for you.
A little argumentative, don't you think?
Oh, hardly. I find that to be purely logical.
Wow, that was like a mic drop moment. I was in the courtroom all day, and I think everyone in there, when that happened, laughed and tried not to make any noise.
Let me remind everyone what this case is actually about. Johnny Depp's suing Amber Heard for defamation, defaming her by writing that op-ed article, which for some reason everyone in the world thought the article was about Johnny Depp.
I was talking about what we as a country were talking about at the time of writing this, which was when powerful men in general.
Yeah, in general. Yeah, our country wants to generalize these powerful people as just being men. Because they're in a position of power, they're going to be insulated and protected. I get that. But I just want to point out here that it's not just men. As a matter of fact, maybe it just looks like men because women don't even have to be in positions of power to get away with this kind of thing. There's one industry that keeps popping up when it's male workers being harassed by female higher-ups. And that's the electrician field, where the electricians are mostly men. Now back to why Amber wrote that op-ed. Amber Heard is on audio. She said to Depp, "You made me do it by going on the offense." Not sure what that means, but...
Now, at least parts of this op-ed are about Mr. Depp, isn't that right?
It's about what happened to me after.
That's good enough.
I'm making an analogy to a powerful man as a ship.
The powerful man you're referring to in this analogy is Mr. Depp, right?
I was talking about a bigger issue, actually.
Well, I feel that I should put in a disclaimer here, that I've just altered that footage there, slowed it down for effect. I'm giving a different impression than the actual video shows. I make this disclaimer so Amber Heard's group of thugs don't come after me and try to sue me, because that's what they're doing now with other more famous YouTubers. And to put it in a different way, just to safeguard my ass, Amber Heard does not look like she's getting trapped in her pile of lies. It's just that she should look like that.
But it's your testimony that this op-ed isn't about Mr. Depp, right?
It's about what happened to me after. That's correct.
It's about your experience after obtaining a temporary restraining order against Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct, among other things.
Whoa. People, she just admitted it. I had not seen that until recently, because I just couldn't stand to watch her testimony.
But it's not about Mr. Depp.
It is not about him.
Mr. Depp is making it about Mr. Depp, right?
Ironically.
It's kind of like that Carly Simon song, right, Miss Heard?
I don't know what you mean.
That is a bizarre response there.
She's never seen that before.
She ran the article by a lawyer before publishing, and they talked about leaving out Johnny Depp's name. That means at some point his name was in there, and that right there is proof the article had something to do with Depp.
Let's talk about the defamatory statements in the op-ed that you also claim are not about Mr. Depp. But it's your testimony under oath that this statement is not about Mr. Depp.
It is not. It is about what happened to me afterwards. That's the more interesting thing for me to write about.
Wait a second. After hearing that many times, and this is like 2 weeks after the trial, I'm realizing I thought she said she didn't write the article.
The next statement reads, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused.
Not just about him, but he is included in that, yes. So it was a reference in general to a larger phenomenon, not just Johnny.
Not just Johnny.
Not just Johnny.
I rest my case. Unbelievable. Why did she go through all this, what she calls humiliation? If she knew she was going to lose, she could have settled and avoided all this publicity. This goes back to my theory that she gets off on humiliation.
Mr. Depp was indeed accused of abuse. Those are facts that are true.
But Mr. Depp was accused of abuse by your client, Miss Heard. And you're her defense lawyer. Do you have anything to say to defend her?
His mom used to call him One Eye. What's your next question? The next.
Okay, Mr. Roddenborn has nothing. Let's give Elaine a shot.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Your next witness.
Next witness from Jacobs. She's also by definition.
Could you turn your microphone again? Yes, sir.
While we're waiting for her to put on her microphone, I have a few things to say. These two lawyers don't really need a microphone because they have no defense. Matter of fact, microphones hurt their case. Which reminds me, let's get back to talking about what this case is actually about.
Johnny Depp, Hollywood star, was trying to prove to the world that his ex-wife's claims of domestic violence were simply untrue.
Guilty until proven innocent.
And more than that, he was claiming that he was the real victim.
Miss Heard, in her frustration and in her rage and her anger, she would strike out. She had given me a good chop in the ear, you know. Suddenly, and I said, go ahead, hit me. Bam.
They make that clear, and they make it clear they don't like Amber Heard.
Amber Heard sucks. Now, I'm not talking about how she gets acting gigs.
She has done charity work and is an ambassador of the American Civil Liberties Union that focuses on women's rights, and she is an outspoken domestic violence advocate. Well, just reading that now. That doesn't make it clear on which side she's on. Back to Rottenborn, then.
The undisputed evidence is that he did, in fact, abuse Amber.
This is hearsay.
June 21st.
I had heard that rumor from multiple people. Of course, that's what flashed through my head when my violent husband...
Oops, she did it again.
Objection. Improper.
It is fitting that Amber would pick these goofball lawyers. In her crazy mind, she probably thought they were good. And I don't just think it's because they have a crazy person for a client, or that she's also guilty. But those things don't help. And when he was questioning Johnny Depp, it's like the only way he could nail Johnny Depp was to keep objecting to his answers. Now, someone wrote a song that sums up how things went for Mr. Rottenborn.
I used to be respected, people took me at my word. Then I became a lawyer representing Amber Heard. Objection, hearsay. Oh my God, I don't have a case. Objection, hearsay. Now I'm ashamed to show my face. I object to everything, I may have an infection. Cause I say I object, the judge says that was your own question. Objection, hearsay. Court isn't supposed to be this hard. Objection, hearsay. How did I ever pass the bar? Well, just one final question, sir, and this one has been prepped. What is your name?
My name is Johnny Depp.
Objection, hearsay. How can you prove that that's your name?
Please continue, Mr. Depp. What did you tell Miss Heard about the staircase, or Kate Moss?
I'll make it easy for Mr. Rottenborn.
Oh, yes, he did. So here's Rottenborn at the podium, making his case for dismissal. And as you'll see here, he keeps on getting interrupted by not only Depp's lawyer, but also the judge.
Tend to get from Ms. Heard is that she either wrote it or republished it.
Yeah, what happened the next day is Ms. Heard posted it on her Instagram.
Retweeting a link doesn't constitute republication. Now, that case does.
Well, it does if you add something to it, but I just don't know the evidence.
Your Honor, very quickly, it's a judicial admission. They admitted in Ms. Heard's answer, she admitted to the tweet. We talked about judicial admissions. One was the op-ed itself. The second, and this is reflected.
Your Honor, if I could finish my argument, I mean, I would appreciate.
I can't wait to oppose this.
I know, that's fine. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So,
sir.
and again,
you know, and I know I've interrupted you now twice on that, but I realize the jury doesn't. Can you tell them what you mean by orange?
Again, weird. Just watching her is just weird.
So as you can see, I circled 20 to 30% of the time.
Right.
It's just as I'm putting it on the right side in the box where I'm coding the instrument.
But to be fair, I checked to see where this camera was, and it's just over the person in the witness box, so it appears she's looking at the witness talking. So if it's just my imagination here, I think you'd be able to understand my imagination if you knew Amber like I knew Amber.
Just sit back and read the transcripts of what they've done to each other.
Every night I get in bed and I'm like,
dude's like, this needs to be on TV. He lost a fingertip.
In these last few weeks, you may have heard the rumor that Amber Heard is a crazy person. Well, here is some footage that might explain why those rumors exist.
I've gotten to a point in my life where I'm like, can't even have banana. Banana! I've cut out banana. No, it's too high sugar. I don't deserve this. I want to move on.
But she brought this on by writing the article after she and Johnny agreed to drop all of it. And now that this court case is over, she has now moved on to slandering another man. I just heard this yesterday, Elon Musk. She's saying some crazy things about him, like gossip stuff, just putting it out there.
Some courts, typically, they don't go on the sidewalk. They go around the street here at the courthouse. And I went and asked because I was a little concerned that something had gone wrong in the courthouse. Things happen in courthouses a lot. There are, people from all walks of life that come into these courthouses. And it's my understanding there was a panic alarm in a situation with a mentally ill person, and that it may not have been related to this case at all.
And at this point, people seem to really think that Amber is just a rotten person. But to make matters worse, Amber's lawyer goes on to read a letter where Johnny Depp is describing Amber. And Mr. Rottenborn thinks this makes Johnny Depp look bad. But at this point, it's clear that he's describing the real Amber. And what a description. This video isn't going to get monetized after this. So help me out any way you can.
I'm going to need your texts about San Francisco, brother. I'm even sorry to ask, but she sucked Mollusk's crooked and he gave her some lawyers.
That's shitty lawyers. I'm not sure. I can only guess that Rottenborn there is referring to himself.
I have no mercy, no fear, and not an ounce of emotion, or what I once thought was love for this gold-digging, low-level, dime-a-dozen, mushy, pointless, dangling, overused, flappy fish market. I'm so f***ing happy she wants to go to fight this out. She will hit the wall hard, and I cannot wait to have this waste of a cum guzzler out of my life. I met a f***ing sublime little Russian here, which made me realize the time I blew on that 50-cent stripper. I wouldn't touch her with a glove. I can only hope that karma kicks in and takes the gift of breath from her. Did I read that right?
You did.
Rottenborn showed Depp photos from...
Am I right? He's reading that as if it's making Johnny Depp look bad when it's making his client look bad. Real bad. That's sad. And that ends another one of Amber's humiliating days of her life.
Rules about how to not scare me.
Objection, hearsay.
Yes, sir.
Objection, hearsay. Objection, hearsay, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. Objection, Your Honor, that's still hearsay. Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
You have all heard the evidence of what she alleged against Mr. Depp in 2016. And you have all heard her incredibly dramatic, over-the-top story of physical and sex. That story was a defamatory lie. She gave the performance of her life, telling you story after story of abuse. And not just any abuse, but extravagant, over-the-top allegations. Either she was raped by a bottle, or she's the sort of person who would get on the stand in this courtroom and lie to you and the world. Either he hit her countless times, or you can't believe a single word that comes out of her mouth. And if she would lie about that, what wouldn't she lie about?
So the lawyers made their closing arguments, and then we had to wait a few days for the verdict. Well, what are we supposed to do till then? I'm sure Amber Heard's supporters would be saying we shouldn't have trials by social media. Well, I've been saying that for years, all through the Me Too movement.
Hashtag Amber Heard is a liar has had 2.5 billion views on TikTok and counting.
Every night I get in bed and I'm like,
I can be a more thoughtful and better person moving forward because all I want to do is be a good person.
If I had been seeing Johnny Depp when he met this girl, I would have said, Johnny.
No.
Men are not that smart when it comes to women. Because truthfully, there's not a 13-year-old girl who wouldn't know what that girl is.
Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven, by clear and convincing evidence, that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes.
The Hollywood actor Johnny Depp wins his multi-million-dollar lawsuit against his former wife, Amber Heard.
Finally.
And what's been really fascinating is that there's been two trials. There's the one where you have journalists going in and reporting on the evidence, as we do, keeping it balanced, and then you have those on social media, because this trial has been televised, taking curated content and skewing it very much in favour of Johnny Depp.
But this time we had a real trial, unlike all that Me Too stuff. This trial makes some big statements about the social environment in the United States, but mass media would rather talk about anything else. And there's plenty to talk about, so they choose that. And they will just have everyone forget about this trial. But I don't think social media is going to let society forget.